First of all, thank you for clicking on this video. I know that time is one of the most valued things in your life, so just appreciate you stopping by. And hopefully, by the end of this video, you will have learned a thing or two about your financial situation, how to grow your wealth, and how to just financially improve your situation. So, let's get into some of these TikToks. My channel is here not to take a shot on anybody. I am here just to review what other people are talking about in consensus to how they're feeling about their finances and how we can kind of level up or find out how we can explore different avenues of making money or getting out of these situations, etc., etc.
Every single person has money problems. And just because you make good money does not mean that you don't have money problems. You just have different money problems. And disclaimer, but I know that making good money and having money to worry about is a good money problem to have. And there are far worse money problems to have. But I just want to bring awareness to the fact that just because you make good money does not mean that you don't have money problems. And actually, for me personally, I feel like the more money that I make, the more that I sit there and just worry about my money and not even like how to make more money. It's just like, what the fuck am I going to do with the money that I am making? And it's like you get to a point in your life where you can, for once in your life, blow it and just buy whatever it is that you want. But you don't want to do that. You want to save and invest. But it's your job. It's up to you to learn how to save, learn how to invest, figure out where the fuck to keep that money, you know? When you go from making 40K a year to 40K a month, that leaves you with a lot of money to worry about. And again, it's an absolutely amazing money problem to have. But yeah, I just wanted to say.
So she's right. The more money that you start, more money, more problems. The more money that you start to make, the more money you have to start to worry about, so to speak. That's why you want to proactively build your cushions, research what you want to do with your money. That's what she was talking about. That could be considered quote unquote a problem, but you can't look at it like that, in my opinion. You have to look at it as like this exploratory. I'm figuring out my money. I'm figuring out where to put my cash. I'm figuring out what investments to get into. I'm figuring out, how to have different portfolios. I'm figuring out all the things, all the retirement accounts, all the different ways that you can save without having to pay lots of taxes, etc., etc. You start to go down the rabbit hole, and then you procure the best avenues for you to place your money. And that's what she was talking about. And it doesn't matter at what status of wealth you are. You should start to do this from any angle, even if it's $10 a month. I know that sounds ridiculous, but what I'm saying is open a savings account. The call to action right now in the first 4 minutes of the video is to open some sort of account outside of something that you already have. Go to another brokerage, put money into the account, figure out how to do this. ChatGPT can help you. Ask Chat, prompt it. What should I do with my $10 to put it into some sort of mild or medium risk situation to where I can start growing my money? And every month I'll start putting $10 in there. And then by the end of the year, you will see a compound interest effect, and it will continue to do so over all the time, especially if you keep putting more and more, or if you start saving in other areas. This is something that no matter what level of wealth you are, no matter what stage you are at in your financial journey, you should save. And I definitely did this. This is how I am in the position that I am in today. I ended up saving a ton of money in my 401k, which is a great thing to do. And I ended up saving money and buying properties. And I was able to move to Florida. But I wouldn't have been able to do this if I wouldn't have purchased real estate from a very young age. I purchased a house when I was 25 years old by myself. So this ended up working out because I'm getting married, and then I rented my property and just paid the bills at the other house, and that property ended up paying for itself. And then I was able to sell it after so many years, and it compound interest. It made me well over $100,000. So this is why it's important to try to plan when you are younger, because these are the things that would help you get to that next level of wealth. And there's kids today that will blow my doors in. There's millionaires that are 21. Like, I wish I had the knowledge and the wherewithal and the resources that I do today, because I would have did things a little bit differently. But that's one thing that we cannot do here. We cannot beat ourselves up over money. So here is the next one.
I am a teacher. I tutor after school. I just got through with one of my tutoring sessions, actually, and I also make content. I have one full-time job with full benefits and then 2 part-time / contract jobs, and I am still struggling. The solution is not to get a 4th job. There's something wrong with this world. Something has got to give to where we live in a world where people can work multiple jobs and they're still struggling. What does that say? Like, the solution isn't you need another job or you're just lazy and you don't want to work. We're working multiple jobs. What more do we have to do in order to live comfortably in this world?
That's the tough part.
I think it's
especially
ridiculous.
like positions like teachers where you want to follow your passion. It's almost like you have to be really strategic on where you decide to teach, or you're not going to be paid a lot of money. You have to be strategic on how you're going to teach, who you're going to teach. Because if you pick something like a elementary school teacher, sometimes depending on the district, you will not make a lot of money. And for me, that is absurd. Like, I don't know how it's a thing that teachers don't get paid a lot of money to deal with all children, because I would not be able to do that. I would be having a breakdown probably after some time, especially if they weren't listening to me or they were being unruly. I definitely think that it's not fair that teachers don't make a bit more money, but it's a shame that she has to work 3 jobs. And I definitely don't think the solution is a 4th job. It's, again, priming the reticular activating system to see different opportunities. The opportunities in those 3 positions may no longer serve her. She may need to start to hone in on different avenues that would procure her a higher amount of money. Like, for example, different teaching positions that could potentially earn her now $100,000, given her background and all the experience that she now has. She could really find a remote position with some sort of online school. She could potentially even open her own school and have her own situation going on where she tutors people full time across the board in like other countries. There's just so many different avenues that people can take, but it's up to you and what feels right and aligned with your life and what you have trained your brain to hone in on and what you are wanting for your reality. Because if you don't have any goals and if you don't have an end state, usually the brain will continue to wander and not really get to that end, especially if you don't set your money thermostat. For example, how much money does she want to be making every year? Does she know how much money she wants to make every year? Is she aware of how much money she is spending? Is she aware of how much money is going out? Is she really tightening in on certain expenditures that she may not need? And so she doesn't have to maybe struggle and work 3 jobs. There's different ways to kind of slice and dice all of these situations. We don't know the entire story. And again, I am not trying to judge anybody on here. I'm just trying to think about some of these things in different ways on how can we take a situation like this and make it a better situation, but at the same time acknowledging that this issue is real, it's happening, and that we can't ignore it, and that we have to, again, procure different ways to earn this kind of money, and then change also how certain positions. I really think, even like trash people, I swear they should make more, because that is a really tough job. I think that it's ridiculous that any of these people would need to be working 3 or 4 jobs.
Why do you work 3 jobs? First of all, having 4 kids is not cheap. Yes, they're my kids. I chose to have them. Why do you think I'm carrying my butt to work and providing for my kids for what they need? I'm not asking anybody else to take care of my kids. Like, this is why I work so much, to be able to take care of my kids. I can't help it if I can't get child support. Like, I've tried. I can't help it when they're working under the table and not getting the money. And if you don't know me, my name's Jamie. I'm a mom to 4, and I work 3 jobs. My full-time job, I'm a 911 dispatcher, and my other 2 jobs, I waitress. Yeah, I'm tired. This is why I'm coming up on TikTok to post, so I can earn money, so I can slow down and spend time with my kids. I had a woman in the comment yesterday saying this is how she lost her mom, because her mom worked so much. And that is my biggest fear of working this much. I don't want to cry, but I don't want to work these jobs, but I have to. You know, rent is outrageous now. Rent is ridiculous. Groceries are ridiculous. Why? I don't understand why prices keep going up. And you know what's sad? This is the honest truth. Things are never going to come back down. They are never going to come back down. They're just going to keep going up. So I feel for my kids when they go out into the real world and have to take care of themselves. You know, my oldest son is 18, almost 19. There's no way he could go move out on his own. There's no way. He couldn't afford it. I don't know how they expect, you know, everyone, you know, all the older generation, why these kids still living at home. Well, Grandpa, rent back then ain't what it is now. Like, rent is quadrupled in price. It's a struggle. But yeah, this is why I work 3 jobs.
So
I have to
completely
provide
understand.
for my
I
kids.
only had 1 child, and I purposely chose not to have multiple children because it is a huge responsibility. And even with 1, it is a lot. It costs a lot of money, especially if you want to give your child like a really decent life or like go above and beyond with certain things. It does cost money, especially if there's medical expenses, which I did have with mine. So there was just different things that you can come into with having multiple sets of children. So I understand, you know, you make decisions, but you have to understand that those decisions come with some sort of obvious future outcome of where now you have to care for 3 and 4 children or what have you, and the father is not paying his fair share. And I would definitely suggest that no matter what, whichever parent owes child support, and if they don't want to pay and you're asking, you definitely should take them to court, and that there's ways to kind of like skirt this. So I have heard other people where their funds were kind of scraped from their paychecks. So it really depends, and I get it. But unfortunately, if you then have children with somebody that doesn't want to pay for them, you would be then liable for them until they're 18 because of the financial situations going on. Like when you heard earlier in my first video, college is getting so expensive and the cost of living, the child then can have a huge debt after going to college themselves. So,
do y'all know that the average American doesn't have any money left over, if but maybe $200 or $300 left after they get paid every 2 weeks or every month? Did y'all know that? I'm sorry, but that I literally feel like drive me to voluntary homelessness. I would volunteer to be homeless. There's no way they'd have me out here working for anybody and I can't live life after I pay bills. Y'all can have these bills back. Take the car, take the crib. You can have it. Listen, I'm going to be homeless on the streets before I dare. Because see, the way I'm set up, my Father which art in heaven would never have that be my portion. That's not my portion. There's no way that paying bills and not having any money left over to really exist, that's not my portion. That's not my portion. And I feel like if that doesn't motivate you and inspire you to get out here and go make some money, make more money. See, the problem with us nowadays is not that we don't know how to make money, it's just that we need to make more money. Find ways to make more money. Stop making excuses. You need to be trying to be the president of the United States before you stop trying to find a new job. Listen.
Yeah, and I love this because she's right. This isn't, I believe everybody has their chance for abundance. And it's really, again, turning on that reticular activating system, getting up to speed with what the wealthy do, with how money walk, talks, and acts. It's all just very much so a frequency, if you will. And I know that sounds woo, but it is. It's a frequency. How often, how frequently are you seeing your money? Are you looking at it? Are you scared of it? Are you not wanting to see different ways that you can grow it? You can literally just start to have conversations with ChatGPT every day. Another call to action at the end of the video. Talk to ChatGPT every day on ways that you can earn more and more money and different ways to implement this, and take a small micro action every single day. And then by the time you know it, you will have more and more money income built up to where you can make other different money moves with it. Like she said, you never want to stop. You want to become the president of the United States. It's like, I love that mentality because you are empowering yourself to know that you can do it. You're empowering yourself to know that you've got this and that you can figure out different ways to make more and more money, that you're not stuck. You're not financially stuck. It is a moment in time. And in my opinion, time, if you look at it linear, it's never going to be in your favor. So you look at it to where your time is precious. So you want to be able to look at how to earn money, to be able to use more of your time and have more time freedom, and be able to spend time with your kids, and be able to not struggle, and be able to think higher, different brain waves, if you will, of wealth. There is one more video that I'm going to put up. This gentleman said a lot of good stuff.
Currently, it's not going to be. It is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k, because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck, and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, a car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food, you only cook at home. You never ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food, because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75,000 a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, that's $300.
Yeah, that's not a lot of money. And it's kind of crazy, especially like knowing that rent is so high. Rent is like crazy expensive. I will say that rent used to be like $800 or something back in the day. Now it's like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Again, I heard somebody talking about $17,000, and that's not even this is all over the place. Like the reality is that rents are all over the place. There's people paying $10,000 a month for rent, $20,000 a month for rent. It's all over the place. It's just that we don't know it and we're not privy to it. We only see what we see from, certain angles, and this is just one of them. But there are other angles where there are people paying $15,000 a month consistently for rent for years and years and years and years. So it depends on how you train your brain, if you will. It depends on what you do with that money. It depends on how you allocate your funds. It really, really depends. And it depends on how you determine what to do with your savings and how you strategically plot your situation out. And unfortunately, $75,000 a year, it's the bare minimum, I think they say now, to make an adult happy. And I made that for many, many years and I was fine on it. It's actually like the more money you start making, the more money you want to start earning. There is always like a sweet spot, but it's learning that sweet spot and then, maintaining that, especially if you determine that your money thermostat is like 10 or 20 million dollars a year. And there's people, like Jeff Bezos, your thermostat is like a bajillion dollars a year or whatever. So it all depends on what you're physically able to handle, mentally, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then obviously spiritually as well, because it's an everything game. It's not just one avenue. You have to really align everything in your life to, I think, maximize that status to where you're thinking so clearly, to where you're like a millionaire, billionaire through business, entrepreneurship, etc., through like different methodologies. Like, don't get me wrong, people can hit the lottery overnight, but many of those folks end up losing it because they don't have that wealth mentality. They don't sign up for the trust. They don't end up diversifying it. They don't put protections in place. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't take those precautions, and I am a resiliency professional, so it's all about planning and planning for what you're expecting to happen, and you want to plan for good things to happen to you. So what you want to do is plan in good expectancy of lots of wealth coming your way. So I hope everybody enjoyed this episode, and until the next one, guys, I hope you all remain financially astute. Bye, guys.